So how did you, you know, I know it probably stung at first, but did it fuel you to do more? How did you bounce back from it? Or like, what was your formula to kind of, you know, get past it?
Yeah, most definitely. Like, I can honestly say throughout like my whole career, like even the beginning stages, if I didn't have those disappointments, I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at today, because I always say like those disappointments, either you're gonna do one of two things. It's either gonna break you, you're gonna give up, which is the first thing, or you're gonna take it and you're gonna use that and apply it to doing, being growing and doing better stuff. So I always say like my disappointments, I always will go back and say, okay, it ain't like this, let me go back and lab. I'm gonna make something. They don't like that, okay, I'm back in the lab. So I always use that as fuel. You know, I use that negative energy as fuel to really like, to inspire me to really go in, and it always increased my drive. So that definitely was part of, the disappointments was definitely part of the fuel that drove me and motivated me to keep on keeping on.
Okay.
I mean, kind of intertwined. So that was like my process of all the elements, combining all the elements to kind of create my sound. As far as the quote you just said, that's just something recently. Like I'm constantly changing, and I'm constantly growing and creatively always looking for new things to try. So that's like one of the things that I was like, you know, I realized that my format in a lot of my recent stuff, it was just me finding a loop, whether it's a vocal loop or a synth loop or something that's like a 1-bar, 2-bar loop. And then once I have that loop, I can build chords around that all day. Yeah. So that loop, like I was saying on the Murder to Excellence joint, you know, that sample is that sample that I chop is just actually a 2-bar sample playing the whole way, the duration of the song, but the chords around it is changing the whole song. So that kind of creates the emotion of the song. So that's kind of like what I kind of stick by now, but it always changes. It's never like one set formula.
Okay, okay. I can dig that. Piggybacking on that, like, how long do you, not that it's just a time period, but is it, what kind of inspires you to kind of change your formula? Is it kind of, you know, I know producers change it up, you know, due to a lot of different things, but what kind of would spark a change in your production style?
With me personally, I would say when I hit those creative walls where I can't think of anything, and it's like, you know, if I'm making beats a certain way and it's not working, then I'm gonna get the same results if I continue to do that. So I'm kind of forced to change it up, you know, just to see if I can create something new out of changing the whole format of things. So usually when I hit a wall where I can't think of anything and nothing's coming, no chorus, no melodies are coming, you know, I change my approach. When I first started producing, 90% of the times I would always start with drums. You know, and it's just an example. I would always start with drums. Like I couldn't do a beat if I didn't start with the drums. But it came to a point where I was so used to doing that, nothing was becoming creative, or nothing was really inspiring me from that method, because it had got old. Yeah, you know how it is. You're a producer, you know. So it came to a point where I was like, man, I gotta switch it up. So I started with my chords and melodies and building drums to that, and it kind of sparked a whole new way, a whole new method for me of creating new sounds and new melodies, because it was a new approach. Okay. So that's kind of how I go, you know, about creating and kind of listening to and kind of feeling the whole vibe as far as how I'm going to create something. Okay.
So another production question, and this is for the other producers out here. How instrumental would you say beat battles were to your success and your diversity as a producer and your sound overall?
Beat battles as opposed to, you know, my career or my sound?
Just your sound, and like how instrumental, both I guess, like how did they help your sound, and also as far as your career, how did it help affect your career? Like some of these beat battle wins, did it give you more exposure, and what did it do?
Oh, most definitely. You know, I never considered myself, and even to this day, I'm not I'm so not a beat battle producer. So my first beat battle, excuse me, y'all. My first beat battle that I actually entered in was it a one-stop shop? I sang it. Red Bull. Red Bull. It was Red Bull, yeah. So my first introduction to beat battle was Red Bull, and that's when I really began to realize that there's a lot of talented producers. Like I have competition. Like I'm not the only one that's doing this. But at the same time, it really kind of built my confidence and let me know that I could compete with a lot of the sounds that's out, you know, a lot of the producers that was coming up at that particular time. So beat battles hands down had a specific, it definitely had a change in my career wise as far as exposure, because it allowed me to, you know, you can only give so many beat CDs out to like in this room, I can bring beat CDs and give them to y'all, but when you're in a beat competition, you're actually playing beats for, I remember doing the first Red Bull in Houston, and it was like 800-900 people actually in the building listening to the producers play. So at that moment, when you're put in front of 900 people and you can really showcase your work, it really puts you on like a whole nother level, because at that point, it's not you trying to sell an unrecognized product to people, but it's the people actually coming to you now because you're showcasing it in front of all these people, and it allows you, it exposes your sound to that. So after those events, like tons of people coming up, like, yo, where you come from? Like, so every beat battle, I gained so many relationships. You know, just people just wanted, whether it was new clients or whether it was just people that had things going on that wanted to involve me with. So that's when, like, me and my wife, like after the first beat battle, we was like, we're gonna do this for like a year straight, and just to create opportunities for ourselves, and that's exactly what we did. Every beat battle that I saw online or whatever, I was submitting for it. I was entering in, and I was either like winning or placing like first, second, third in them. So it definitely had, because it really put my name out there, and people started knowing me more as a producer.
Okay. And going from the relationships that you form from these beat battles and just in the industry period, like, I guess when we're gonna get to the story that I say, the story that never gets old, we're gonna start with the relationships. And I guess we can just say how maybe, let's start with your relationship with Phonte, or whatever led to your relationship with Phonte, to how it is just spiraled into where your career is now.
Phonte, anybody familiar with Phonte, your little brother? Yeah. Of course, he had his album just dropped. Y'all pick it up. I got a joint on there, actually. Shameless plug. Yeah, but my man Phonte, I met Phonte through my homie Illmind, who was a producer from New Jersey as well. He was producing for a little brother back in the day, and me and Ill did a collaborative album called The Order One Mind. I don't know if any of y'all familiar with that album. So I met Phonte through Illmind. Illmind played some joints with Phonte, and Phonte hit me up like, yo, we gotta work. So I started sending joints for him, and he was working on Darian Brockington project at the time. So I landed some joints on the Darian album, and me and Phonte, we just really hit it off. He's a good dude, and we kept in communication. You know, I would always talk, every time he needed beats, I would send him some stuff. So I kept that relationship up. So about a year and a half to 2 years ago, Phonte hits me up, and he was like, yo, S, he was like, I just talked to Ron Fest, and he was like, Ron Fest, he was like, he got this joint that he loves the song, but he can't use the beat, you know, for some odd reason, something happened with the producer. So he was like, yo, I referred it. I told him, you know, anybody do this beat better than what it is. You know, I was like, you know, S1 got to do this. So he gave that plug to him, and Ron Fest was like, shoot, have him shoot it over to me. So he gave me the email. They shot me the acapella to the Rhymefest joint. I got the Rhymefest joint and heard the acapella. Me and Caleb, who is my production partner that works with me, we were in the lab, and I was like, yo, let's go ahead and just do this remix for Rhymefest. This is a joint they sent over. And Rhymefest, Phonte had already told me, he was like, you know, this is what he could pay, and you know, only because he can't use the original beat. So he just needs somebody to remix it. This is what he can pay. Are you down to do it? I was like, yeah, cool. You know, I'm a big fan of Rhymefest, and I'm like, yeah, anything to get my name out there, you know, even a little bit more. So, like I said, they sent me the acapella. Me and Kayla, we got in the lab, we knocked it out. I sent the final version over to Rhymefest. So I remember getting a call from Rhymefest, and me and my family, we were in Florida at the time, and he called, and he was like, yo, this stuff, in so many words, in the cleaner version. He said, yo, this joint you sent over is crazy. I was like, man, thanks. I was like, man, I was just thank you just giving me the opportunity. He was like, man, send me some more stuff. I'm at the end of my album, I gotta finish this up. So send him some more joints. So a few days later, he calls me back, and he's like, yo, I want, it's 4 joints I want. And I was like, man, cool. I was like, you know, 4 joints for the album? He was like, yeah. He was like, you just knocked 2 other producers off the album. I was like, cool, you know. Yeah, I was like, cool. So he was like, man, I want 4 joints, but he was like, but there's a catch though. He was like, I'm at the end of my budget, so I can only pay you for 2. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, he can only pay me for 2, but he wants 4 joints. I'm like, cool. I was like, man, don't even worry about it. I was like, we charge a 2 to the game. I'm not tripping. You know, I was like, I'm just glad, you know, that we're working, you know, you giving me the opportunity to work with you. So he was like, cool. He was like, seriously? And he was like, I was like, yeah, really, don't worry about it, man. Just go ahead. So he was like, cool. So those joints made his El Che album. One of them was Say What's Up, featuring Phonte, you know, which was his first single off that album. And so that kind of shows you how the relationship is kind of transitioning from, okay, Phonte, you know, with our relationship. And the thing is, this is how I know it was like a God thing, and it had nothing to do with me, because at the end of the day, Phonte works with tons of producers. Ninth Wonder, he was working with Ninth at the time. So for him to actually consider me, you know, to actually do that and give me that opportunity, you know, that says everything, you know. Because like I said, he could have got anybody. He could have got Crisis to do it. But he called me, and he was like, yo, you know, I feel that like your vibe can really capture this. So moving on, Rhymefest used his joints. Like I said, it was the 4 joints on his album. Fast forward a little bit, me and Rhymefest, we talked like, you know, we was talking. He called me one day while we was actually finishing the El Che album. He called me one day, and he was like, yo, I got this idea, man, we should do this album together. And he was like, man, I just see like me and you on the front cover. And Rhymefest he always just calls me with just off the wall ideas. Like crazy ideas, but they be dope, but he's just so passionate about what he does. So he called me, and he was like, yo, I got this crazy idea, this project we can do. Like, you be the producer of the project, I'll be the MC, and it could be like, it could take place of us in the 60s. And I see us, like the album cover would be like us against the wall, and you know, just kind of reflecting the old days when, you know, kind of showcasing the prejudice and the racial, you know, tension, you know, and the policemen can be spraying us with water hoses. So it was like crazy. So I was like, okay, cool. And he was like, man, the beats need to be like real, like, the beats need to be like real hard, you know, hard drums, and just like on some NWA type stuff, like real hard hitting beats. And I'm coming with the crazy rhymes, talking about like just on some old revolutionary type. So I was like, cool, let's, you know, I'll be putting some ideas back. If I hear anything, I'll put some ideas back. So I came across this sample. I came across this sample, and which was the power sample. And I came across it one day, and I was like, oh man, when I heard it, I was like, man, this could be something special. I'm like, man, this could be something huge. But I didn't do anything to it at that particular moment, because I was like, man, no, if I do something now, I'm just gonna be forcing it. I was like, man, I gotta take my time with this. So maybe like a few weeks later is when I actually came back to the sample, and I was like, okay, I got a few ideas for it. So I was looping the sample, and I can remember my wife coming in the studio and like, can you please turn, that's getting on my nerves. All she heard was the and she was like, that is so annoying.
Ain't annoying no more.
So she was like, that is so annoying, what is that? So I'm like, man, this is a beat I'm about to create. So I finished the beat, and I never said, it was supposed to be for me and Ron Fest, the album. I was like, man, but I was like, I'm not gonna send it to Ron Fest, because I know how Ron Fest is. Ron Fest can have an idea one day, and then he'll call me 4 weeks later, and he'll be like, oh, S1, this is what we need to do this. And forget the album, we need to go on the road, we need to put this tour together. So I'm like, I'm not gonna send it to him, because I knew he was finishing up his album. And I was like, this, you know, by the time we actually start working on this project, we're gonna be in 2 different creative spaces. You know, where are we at now? The ideas have been changed, the timing will have changed. So I was like, I'm just gonna keep it. So it just sat on my desktop, you know, and I never sent it to him. But I told him about it. I was like, yo, I've been putting some ideas together for the project. So he was like, cool. But he was like, you know, we can get in that once I finish this album up. So I never sent it. So a couple months later, out the blue, he calls me, and he's like, yo, and he was kind of whispering. He was like, yo. I saw Ron Fest calling me one day. So Ron Fest calls me one day, and he's whispering. He's like, yo, S. He's like, yo, I'm in the studio with Kanye. Send me some beats over. And he's like, I can't promise you that, but if the opportunity comes up, you know, I'll try to play some stuff for him. So I was like, man, cool. Put about 6 beats in a folder, and right before I sent them, I saw the little power file sitting on the desktop. So I was like, Ron Fest, we can just do another beat for Ron Fest album. So because, you know, it was about now. You know, it was about, you know, something that may not even at that time. So I dragged and dropped. And, put it in the folder, and I sent the beats to Ron Fest. Didn't hear from him that day, so I was like, you know, maybe, you know. But at that point, I've been in that situation so many times where people gonna play stuff with people, either you don't hear back, you know, or either they just don't go with nothing, or whatever the situation don't work out. So I sent it to him, and I didn't hear back from him that day. So I was like, okay, cool, you know, move on, you know, let's keep it going, let's keep grinding. So I sent the beats over to him, and either it was like a week later or 2 weeks later, either or, me and my family, me and my wife, my sister and brother-in-law, we all in San Antonio with my moms, having a good time for the weekend, and I get a text from Ron Fest, and the text specifically said, Kanye is loving your stuff. He said he's about to change your life. So I'm looking at the phone, and I'm like, I gave the phone to my wife, and I was like, read this and make sure I'm reading it right. You know, make sure, you know, so she was like, that's crazy. So, you know, my family read it, they excited. So Ron Fest calls me. He actually called that same day. And he was like, yo, he was whispering again. So he was in the studio. Yeah. So he was like, man, this is crazy. He was like, man, dude is talking about he's about to change your life, and he listening to your tracks, and like it's bringing like a whole new energy out of him. So I'm like tripping, like, man, this is crazy. So that whole weekend, and actually it was Saturday, and you know, we was coming back here on Sunday. So that whole night we was just tripping, like, man, that's crazy. So fast forward 2 days, I think it's like Monday, and me and my wife, we out to eat, and I get an email, and it says, your flight leaves, it says your flight leaves out in 3 hours to Hawaii. So I give my wife a phone, I was like, read this, make sure I'm reading it right again. So she read it, she was like, are you serious? She was like, well, and we had just ordered our food, they had brought it up. We got the manager, he was like, yo, just box our food up. We was like, we got an emergency. So we, emergency. So we rushing home, and you know, 3 hours, you need to be at the airport at least an hour and a half. So we pushed. You know, I'm at home throwing clothes in suitcase, my equipment, just throwing it, you know, everything was so fast at that moment. You know, as long as I had my equipment in my hard drive, I'm good. If I forget underwear or whatever, I can buy that and not buy it. So I was like, as long as I got my hard drive, I'm fine. So we throwing clothes and equipment, you know, in the suitcase. My wife rushes me to the airport, and the whole time, like, I go through security and I'm sitting, and I'm like, man, what's going on? I'm like, this is crazy, because everything was just like, from the moment of the text to the email, everything was like, and I was like, dang, am I really about to fly out to Hawaii? And I tell you, that flight was probably the longest flight, because the whole flight, you can just imagine what I'm thinking, like dang, like, is this really going down? I'm thinking like I'm gonna get to the airport and they're gonna be like, oh, you know, it didn't work out, you know. No, I'm serious, because at that point, it was like, you know, it was so, it was like, man, it was an unexplainable, you know, feeling, what I was feeling at that time. So my whole flight, I was like, man, what is Kanye gonna be like to work with? Is he gonna be cool? Is he gonna be a butthole? You know, what is he gonna be like to work with? So that's like my whole flight, like, okay. And then I'm thinking in my head, oh man, I'm gonna play up this beat. I got my laptop out, and I'm going through stuff, and like, man, I should play up this beat, just assembling folders and stuff. So I got to the airport, I landed in Hawaii, and they had a driver waiting for me. And as soon as I got to the driver, he was like, Mr. West said, go drop your things off at your hotel and come straight to the studio. And it was like 3 in the morning at the time. So I'm like, man, this is crazy. So I went up, you know, went up to my room, dropped my stuff off, said a little prayer, and got back in the car, went to the studio. The studio was crazy. It's, the studio is actually on this little island itself. It's surrounded by water. So I got out, security took me in, and security, yeah, man, it was crazy. So
that's like a boat too.
nah, we didn't need a boat, but they were actually boats on the back, you know, that you could come to the studio, but we came from the land way. Okay. We came from the waterway. So yeah, I remember first getting to the studio, and the receptionist, they Ron Fest Kanye, and they was like, S1 is here, see y'all. And I remember like being at the reception desk, and the reception, after they got off the phone, they was like, you know, Mr. West says, you know, come straight back to the room. He was like, that straight down this hallway and to the left. So that was the longest hallway. The hallway was about, it was literally from here to like the door, but it seemed like a mile. Cause I'm like, man, this is it. Like, so, you know, I'm walking down the hallway and opened the door. And the first person I see is Ron Fest. He gave me a hug. He gave me a hug, was like, I love you, brother. You know, he always called me, Ron Fest would just call me and be like, man, I love you, man. That's all I want to tell you. Yeah, that's my dude, but yeah, Ron Fest was the first person I saw, and I remember him, he was like, yo, Kanye beat S1, S1 beat Kanye. So I dapped Kanye up, and I was like, man, big fan of your work. He was like, well, big fan of yours. As of now, he was like, man, so, and it wasn't no like conversating at the people like, man, I want to play you my album, man. This is gonna be like the greatest thing ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, y'all should hear these songs. So he got right into it. He's like, man, I already recorded to the power joint. So he had already demoed the power joint. He played it for me, and I was just like, man, this is crazy. And take it that the first version that he played was so unlike the version that it is now, because it, like with Kanye, like he'll do 20 different versions of a song until he finds what he likes. So the first version, he had different verses on it. He had another hook idea on it. So it was real skeleton, but it was dope. It was really dope. So he played me that joint. I was like, man, I was like, man, this is crazy. He was like, yeah. He was like, this is gonna be that joint. So he played me like 7 other joints. He's like, I just want to kind of play the album for you, and you know, just so you can get a feel. And he was like, man, I need some more stuff from you. So I was like, cool. So he played joints, and I remember just tripping off the songs. Like, man, I can't believe like Kanye is like actually right here playing me joints for his album, you know. So so that was the first day. And we developed a routine. Like I was in Hawaii for like a week and a half the first time I went. And we developed a routine where it was basically, it was very focused and fun. And what I mean by that was like, it was very disciplined too. He's so disciplined. Every morning we wake up, we go to Kanye's crib, we eat breakfast together. Everybody eat breakfast. Everybody has to be at breakfast. You don't miss the Kanye West breakfast at his crib. So we eat breakfast, man, have some great talks. After that, we would go to the YMCA to play pickup games, 3 hours every day for conditioning, full court. And when I tell you, like, I probably like called my wife, like, man, I don't think I can do this because my lungs was burning. You know when you ain't ran in a while? And I was like, man, I think I'm just gonna just come back to the crib. Because the thing is, it wasn't like 5 on 5 full court. It was like however many people at the court. If it's just me, Kanye, DJ Toon, and his manager Don, it's 2 on 2 full court. So you can just imagine. So yeah, every day, 3 hours a day at the gym for conditioning. After that, back to, you know, to my hotel room to freshen up. And at the studio, we would get to the studio about 4 p.m. every day, about 4 or 5-ish every day. And we stay in the studio till about 3 or 4. Kanye had a room at the studio. He had a little room set up, so he wouldn't leave. Like, I would leave and go back. And this is like after, because what happened was I was actually at I was staying in a hotel. Because I'm gonna come back to that. So I was staying at a hotel. The day I was supposed to go back, we was in the studio. I was in the studio with Kanye, and I was like, yo, yay. I was like, my flight leaves back, you know, tonight at midnight. He was like, I want to see if you can stay an extra day. I got Rick Ross coming through tonight. So I'm like, you don't ask me, you just tell me you need to be here, you know, and I'm there, you know. You don't ask me that question because I'm not gonna answer it. There's only one way I can answer that question. So yeah, I say Rick Ross came through that night, real cool dude. He stayed out there, and Kanye, it's gonna be a little bit harder than I. So, you know, for him to say that, so he played the joint, played Rick Ross' album. So the next day we're in the studio, or the next night we're in the studio, and I was supposed to leave that night, and I was like, man, yo, yeah, my flight leave out tonight at midnight. He was like, oh, he was like, oh, I want to see if you can stay extra night. I got Nicki Minaj coming through tonight. I'm like, man, I actually told him, I was like, man, just look here. I was like, just do this. I was like, just don't tell me that I was like, I'll just stay here and you tell me when I need to go back. That is going to work out a little better. So I wound up staying up there another week. You know, Nicki Minaj came through that day, introduced us. She was real cool. he played at a power joint. He was like, yo, my man, that's one did this. You need to get something from now, because when this dropped, same story. So, you know, she loved the joint. So, you know, just the fast forward a little bit on that. After that, or when I had stayed, you know, every night that I had stayed after my reservations, I was just staying at Kanye's crib. So what was crazy, and when it really just hit me, is like every night I was literally, because like I said, Kanye didn't leave, so I had a driver just take me back to his crib, like, because the time change was killing me, like it was killing me, like I was like halfway like sleep in the studio most of the time, or not most of the time, but you know, a lot. But so the driver would take me back to his crib, and I'm like, man, I'm like standing in front of his crib. And he leave the key like for me, and I open the door, and I'm just like, dang, I'm in Kanye's crib, and he ain't even here. You know, I'm like, man, this has got to like this is, I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna get up in the morning, wake up, and I'm gonna be in my mama's house. It was crazy, and that's like when it really hit me, because I would wake up. Every morning I wake up, man, and like the two chefs would be waiting. So I started coming to chefs on the first name basis, and I was like, yeah, make me that. You know, make me the omelet with the. They would make it, and like Kanye would even be crib, so I'm in the back, you know, just like sitting by the pool, eating my breakfast. And I'm like, man. What's going on? You know, like, is this still, I'm still thinking this is like a dream. And so I'm chilling, I'm like, man, so Kanye come in, you know, he get his plate, we chilling and just talking with everybody else that's there. So that went on, like I said, I was out there for another week. And finally left. I finally came back home. And reality set back in.
Yeah, no chefs.
No chefs. Pop Phonte, waiting on me. And I actually mentioned that to my wife. I was like, man, I come back to this. Like, I couldn't say it all. I was just joking with it though, of course. Because, you know, she gave me a hard time, but man, like I said, I had a great time with Kanye, and man, Kanye is like one of those. I get asked this question a lot, and I got asked this question a lot. Or a lot of people have asked me this question, but they're like, man, how is it to work with Kanye? And I'm like, man, when I tell you, like, he's one of the coolest dudes, like, in the studio, his energy, and you know, he's like, man, what you think of this S1? Like, you know, what would you do with this? And I give him my honest criticism. And he's like, okay, yeah, you want to take it and do drums on it and see what you can do for it. So it was like always interactive, and he was very mindful of my criticism on the records and my feedback, and everybody other producers in there. You know, it never was an ego problem where it was like, nah, I'm Kanye. You know, you just S1. You know, and he always showed that in the studio, and like I said, his energy is just incredible. He performs, like when he's in the studio, he's performing like he's at a show. So, you know, like I always tell everybody, like he's one of the greatest people to work with. I went back to Hawaii like 2 weeks later. When I'm moving a little too fast, I'll slow it down a little bit. When I got back home, my whole thought process was like, okay, I've been down this road before. I said to my wife, I was like, there's no way that God took me to Hawaii and I'm not gonna be on this album, because like he was just recording songs at the time. I was like, man, we gotta make this album. We got to, so.